The cafe became super quiet the moment Kai ran through the receipt on the floor and said in a mean voice, "Your food isn't even worth a coin." Everyone in the cafe stopped talking and turned to look. Harold Mitchell, who owned the cafe called Harold's Brew, stood behind the counter. He was trying to stay calm. He used to be a martial artist, a fighter, and he was also the oldest friend of Jason Statham, the famous movie star. Just a minute ago, the cafe was full of happy people talking and laughing. Now, no one said a word. An old couple stopped drinking their tea. A barista near the coffee machine was shaking hands. But Kyron didn't care at all. He leaned over the glass case full of pastries like a mean tiger looking at its lunch. Kai was tall, skinny, and full of himself. He was good at kung fu and even better at being rude. "I'm not paying for garbage," he said, stepping back and bumping into a table so hard that tea spilled all over the old couple nearby. "Oops," he said with a big, nasty smile. Then he turned toward Harold. Harold stepped forward. He was calm, but his voice was firm. "That's enough, Kai. Pay for your order and leave." Kai laughed aloud, a cold laugh. "You still think you're some big fighter? You're nothing now. Just a sad old man selling croissants." Then, out of nowhere, Kai shoved Harold hard. Harold hit the corner of the counter with his arm, and it made a cracking sound. He fell to one knee, blood dripping from his elbow. It was a deep cut. Everyone gasped. A lady covered her mouth. Another person pulled out their phone to call someone. Harold's face showed pain, but he still tried to get up. His teeth were clenched. He was trying hard to stand. Kai cracked his neck and turned like he was done. He was going to walk out and leave like a winner. But then, something happened. From the back corner of the cafe, a man stood up slowly. It was Jason Statham. He didn't look scared or surprised. He looked calm and serious. His eyes were cold like ice. He stepped forward. Kai rolled his eyes. "Oh, what now? A movie guy wants to fight me." Jason didn't blink. "You just spilled the last drop you'll ever get away with," he said in a quiet but sharp voice. Everyone in the cafe stopped moving. Jason took another step forward. Kai smirked and cracked his knuckles. He didn't know the fight had already started. That morning had begun like any other. A light breeze carried the smell of fresh bread and hot coffee down the street. Harold's Brew sat on the corner like always. It was a warm and friendly place. Inside, people chatted, steam hissed from the coffee machines, and everything felt peaceful. Harold moved behind the counter like he did every day. He poured coffee, gave people their food, and told funny little jokes. He had a soft smile under his gray beard and a limp in one leg from an old injury. But he never complained. People liked and respected Harold, not because he asked them to, but because he was kind and fair. In the back of the cafe sat Jason Statham. He wore a half-zipped hoodie and drank black coffee. He didn't say much. There were no cameras, no movie crew, no loud announcements. Just Jason, sitting quietly. He and Harold were best friends. They grew up together, practicing fighting moves in old garages. Then they lost touch. Then they found each other again. Jason had been in a lot of movies and traveled all over the world. But Harold's Brew always felt like home to him. Then the bell above the door rang. Everything changed. Kai Ren walked in like he was the king of the place. He was skinny and wore a tight jacket. He walked with big, proud steps and looked around like he wanted someone to challenge him. But nobody did. People in the town knew Kai. He used to be good at kung fu. Now he was just mean. He picked fights in bars and bullied people. He wasn't nice or polite. Harold had seen him before. Sometimes Kai made rude jokes. Sometimes he took coffee without asking. But today felt different. The air felt heavy. Kai ordered a latte and a cinnamon bun. He threw his coins on the counter like Harold was a dog. Then he sat down by the door, put his feet on another chair, and started being loud on purpose. He watched the other people in the cafe, especially the sweet old couple drinking tea by the window. Harold brought over the latte. Kai didn't say thank you. He drank it all at once, then dropped the cup on the floor. "Hope you washed your hands, old man," he said, grinning. Harold raised an eyebrow. "That's enough," he said again. But Kai didn't stop. He stood up slowly, puffing out his chest. Are you still pretending this cafe is a good idea? You're a failed fighter with a cash register. Then, just like that, he pushed Harold hard. Harold fell back, hitting his arm on the edge of the counter. Blood came out fast. Everyone in the cafe froze. Jason's chair scraped the floor as he stood up. His jaw was tight. The room felt cold all of a sudden. It wasn't a cafe anymore. It felt like a place where something big was about to happen. Cups clinked on saucers. People shook with fear. The old couple started with wide eyes. The barista ducked behind a jar of cookies. Only Jason moved. He walked away from his chair slowly and carefully, like he was walking into a big scene or real fight. His boots tapped gently on the floor. Every step was full of purpose. Kai was still near the counter, laughing. He didn't even know Jason had stood up. Harold leaned against a shelf. His arm was beating badly, and he looked embarrassed. This was his cafe, and now it felt like he had lost control. Jason's voice broke the silence. "Pick up the bill," he said to Kai. Kai finally turned and saw Jason. "What?" Jason started. "You made a mess. Clean it up." Kai smiled again. "Oh look, the movie star is talking now. What are you going to do? Stare at me into being good?" He laughed and nodded his head. "This is real life, buddy. Not your action movies." Jason stepped closer. "I have been in the real world," he said. "And you just made a big mistake." Kai raised his hands like he was joking. "What? You gonna kick me into the muffins? Is this your big comeback scene?" He laughed again, loudly. But nobody else laughed. Then, without a warning, Kai kicked at Jason's head with a fast, spinning move. But Jason was ready. He ducked quickly and caught Kai's leg. Then, with a twist, he pulled Kai down. The fall wasn't loud, but it was heavy. Kai hit the floor hard. A chair toppled over. Kai groaned. The wind had been knocked out of him. Jason didn't smile. He didn't cheer. He just stood still and waited. Kai got up slowly, red in the face and very angry. He kicked a fallen milk crate and shouted, "You want to fight? Fine. Let's fight." Jason took off his hoodie calmly. He moved into a fighting stance. This wasn't a movie. This was real. Kai had picked the wrong fight in the wrong place. Phones came out. People backed away. Chairs scraped the floor. The whole cafe buzzed with tension. Jason stepped forward again, calm but ready. His boots touched the cafe floor like they were marking his spot in a ring. Kai rolled his shoulders like he was in a kung fu movie, smirking like it was just for fun. Harold clutched his hurt arm. Blood soaked through the towel wrapped around it. "You gonna act too?" Kai teased. "This is your little movie? You're gonna do slow motion too." Jason didn't say a word. He just waited. Because now, the real fight was about to begin. Jason's face didn't change. He just looked at Kai calmly. Kai quickly lifted his leg and tried a big, spinning kick. It was fast and flashy, like in a movie, but Jason was even faster. He ducked under the kick and twisted his body. While Kai's leg was still in the air, Jason grabbed it. With a strong pull, he yanked Kai off balance. Kai crashed down onto the hard floor. His elbows hit the tiles with a loud thud. Jason didn't wait. He kicked a nearby chair out of the way and ran forward. Kai tried to stand up fast. He swung his arm wildly, trying to punch Jason, but he missed. Jason moved under the punch and hit Kai with a sharp elbow to his side. The hit knocked the wind out of Kai. He made a loud grunt and stepped back, bumping into a table. A cup of coffee tipped over and spilled everywhere. Jason kept walking forward. Kai tried another fancy move, a spinning back kick, high in the air. But Jason stepped close, caught Kai by the side, and slammed him down onto another table. Crash. Plates broke. Forks and knives flew everywhere. The cafe was now a mess. It looked like a fight scene from a movie. Kai rolled off the table, angry and red-faced. He grabbed a ceramic mug from the counter and threw it at Jason. Jason ducked. The mug smashed on the wall behind him. Hot tea splashed down. But Jason didn't even blink. He kept walking toward Kai. Kai stepped back, but Jason didn't stop. They fought again. Everything happened so fast it looked like a blur. Kai punched. Jason blocked. Kai tried again. Jason twisted and hit him. Jason's strong arm hit Kai's neck. Then Jason kneed Kai hard in the leg. Then a strong punch to the stomach made Kai double over. He gasped, holding his belly, eyes wide. Jason grabbed Kai's shirt and pushed him back, shoving him through the narrow aisle between tables. They both fell, and the table broke under them. Jason stood up first. He pulled Kai to his feet by the collar and slammed him into the fridge near the barista counter. Glass jars on top of the fridge rattled. Kai's body hit the metal hard. Jason let go and stepped back. Kai stood up slowly, his lip beating. He was breathing hard, and he didn't look so tough anymore. "Still think you're the top dog?" Jason asked in a quiet but serious voice. Kai didn't answer. He growled and jumped forward, trying to tackle Jason like a football player. But Jason moved to the side. Kai crashed into the glass bakery display. Glass shattered. Pastries flew in every direction. People in the cafe gasped and covered their mouths. Jason walked up to Kai, who was crawling out of the broken display case. "This isn't a tournament," Jason said. "This is real." Kai tried one last time to fight. He threw a wild punch. Jason caught his wrist in midair, turned around quickly, and slammed Kai hard onto the wooden floor. Thud. The sound was loud. Kai lay there gasping. He couldn't move anymore. Jason grabbed the back of Kai's jacket, opened the cafe door, and dragged him outside. In one quick motion, he threw Kai onto the sidewalk. Kai slid across the concrete. A stack of milk crates fell with him. Kai groaned. His face was bloody, and he was breathing hard. Jason stood in the doorway of the cafe. His chest was moving up and down, but he looked calm. "If you ever come back here," Jason said, "I'll break more than your pride." Kai didn't answer. He rolled over and crawled away. Inside the cafe, everything was quiet. Then, clap. One person started clapping. Then another joined. Soon, the whole room was clapping, surprised and happy. An old couple stood up. One of them had tears in her eyes. They smiled at Jason. Harold, who had been hiding behind the counter, laughed a little. "Still know how to throw a punch, huh?" Jason walked over and helped Harold sit down gently. "You okay?" he asked. Harold nodded. "I am now." Jason sat next to him, just for a little while, so everyone could see the cafe was safe again. Jason crouched down beside Harold and looked at his arm. There was a cut, and it was beading through the cloth. Jason slowly unwrapped the towel. Harold winced in pain. "Hold still," Jason said softly. He grabbed a clean apron from the rack and tore it into strips. "This will help until someone can sew it properly." Harold let out a breath. It was a mix of pain and relief. "Still better than the last nurse I had," he joked. Jason didn't laugh, but he stayed calm. His hands were careful and kind, though his jaw was tight. Across the room, customers started moving again. They picked up chairs. Someone set down broken cups carefully. The old couple walked over to the counter. Jason stood up and looked at them. "Let me make it up to you," he said. He poured 2 fresh cups of tea, quietly and carefully. He brought them to their table. He even refilled the sugar bowl that had spilled during the fight. "No charge ever," he said. The old man nodded, his voice shaky. "That wasn't just a fight, son. That was justice." Jason nodded, then turned back to Harold. "Kai won't come back," he said. "But I'll hire a private company to watch this place for a while. Keep it safe. You won't have to pay." Harold blinked. "You don't have to do that." "I do," Jason said firmly. "Because guys like him don't stop unless someone makes them. And places like this, good places, they need more than pride. They need protection." Harold looked down at his torn cave, then looked around the cafe. Everyone was still there. No one had left. They were watching Jason, not like he was a hero, but like someone who made them feel safe. Jason grabbed his coat from the back of a chair. He started walking to the door. Harold called out, "Same table next week?" Jason smiled without turning around. "You better have stronger tea." Then he opened the door. The soft light from outside spilled into the cafe. Everyone watched as Jason walked down the street, his steps quiet and calm. For the first time all day, the cafe felt safe again. The sun was going down behind the rooftops of Sydenham. The cafe was still busy, but people spoke softly now, not because they were scared, but because they felt respect. Some talked about the fight. Others talked about how Jason had protected Harold, without asking for anything in return. Harold just looked at the bloodied apron on the floor and smiled. Not because of the fight, but because someone still remembered what it meant to be loyal. To stand by a friend. Outside, a teenager with a food delivery bag walked past Jason. He stopped and looked at him. "You were in there, right?" the teen asked. "That guy. He had it coming." Jason looked back at the cafe, then at the boy. His voice was quiet but strong. "Some people train to hurt," he said, pulling his coat tighter. "Others train to protect. Big difference." Then Jason walked away. No cameras. No reporters. Just the quiet sound of his footsteps on the sidewalk. Inside the cafe, the mess was being cleaned, but something felt stronger than before. People had seen what Jason did. They saw what loyalty looked like, what bravery looks like, and they would remember. Harold's Brew was more than just a place for coffee now. It was a place where good people stood together. It was a place worth protecting. And thanks to Jason, everyone in that neighborhood knew they were not alone. If you like this story, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun adventures and mysteries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.